101 and 201. This is the We Don't Play podcast show, and you are tuned in to the Marketing Club on Clubhouse right now, live and direct, to learn about email marketing. And you are definitely welcome. This is a club that has grown on Clubhouse. I've been here for 5 years now, and this amazing space, which I'm the leader in, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to connect with so many people around the world. We have over 351.2 thousand members. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. You know, it starts off with one, two, three, and then before you know it, it's a whole community. And that's what we love to see here, because there's so many things that we have to think about, especially when we run a business and we ask ourselves as a business, how do we create content? What do we do? And where do we do these things in a way that is very sequential for us as business owners to really take control of our marketing, but also take control of our data? Because when we start getting content, when people start, driving traffic to our pages, there's a lot of things that starts to happen. Like, people start to get connected to different things. They start getting connected to how you write content, where you write content. Do they follow you on social media? Do they find your podcast? And then from your podcast, they find your social media profile, and then your profile turns into a platform that they can connect with you. It just changes. So emails, hey, check me out, bye. It doesn't work like that, because the moment you start doing that, the moment they start unsubscribing. Sometimes I even amaze myself how people don't unsubscribe. Not because of anything, but there's value. If someone unsubscribes, it means that there's no value. So there has to be some type of attachment to that connection. So I'm really excited about today's topic. And we're going to touch this within the hour. So I really appreciate you for that thumbs up, Riches. Appreciate you. And thanks for being here, Bimbala. Good morning, John. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you. And I had to break it to my wife gently this morning. She thought today was Friday. And I remind her it's Friday Eve, it's Thursday. So, yeah, email marketing is a big part of what I do. And a lot of people poo poo it. I wish I had started email marketing when I first started my podcast. And I've been familiar with it for a very long time. I sold it for a long time, but it's a great way to get in people's inboxes. And when we think of email marketing, there's a traditional one. I use Constant Contact. I think you use Flowdesk about getting subscribers. But there's some non-traditional ones that people look at. LinkedIn, the LinkedIn newsletter delivers directly to their inbox. You don't need a paid membership to do that. I think you have to have 150 followers. Substack is another one you can do. So those are all great tools and you can do them in conjunction with each other. And Facebook, the broadcast channels is an alternative to email marketing. And then we have chatbots like ManyChat, where you can, which I use, which you can market directly to people's messenger. So every 24 hours, it's all great tools to consider.
You are so right on that, John. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of connections that you make online through email, and they also translate into connections you make on social media. I feel like email is the perfect way to give someone access to your social media, because if it's a blog, if it's a podcast, if it's an email, if it's a blurb, if it's a PSA, something that is like a snippet, that way they're able to, connect. And when they start seeing that, they're like, okay, there's information here, there's information here. And that starts helping people. And then you start realizing what time your connections are even online. You'd be surprised, sending them an email at 2 p.m., you missed them at 5 a.m., because you didn't know that they were up and awake and alert and ready to hear you, but you didn't send anything because you thought at 2 p.m. would be a better time, just because you thought that. So take away the thinking and look at the data. And platforms give you those things to help you understand that. And I've used Flowdesk 5 years now plus, and it was just last week that I got to meet the founders. And it was such a great moment, because one of the things I've come to see is that, people are trying to look for answers to solve their problems, especially with email marketing, because even when people get on calls and they want to connect and they want to know, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, you want to do this, but are you doing this? And if you are, how well are you doing it well enough that you feel satisfied about it? And sometimes we don't push to that point. We just say we're doing it, but we're not really doing it like we should. And email marketing is one place I've seen tremendous feedback. And today I'm going to be doing a lot of that today. I've actually sent out 2 emails. I was thinking about it. If you count the number of emails you send in a month, and you also look at the amount of money that you've generated as a business in a month, those two should have a translation. There should be a correlation between the two. Like, not how many social media posts you've done in a month, how many emails you've received, sent, connected with, how many connections have you made that have turned into phone calls, that have turned into Zoom calls, that have turned into in-person meetings. If you can do that number and see the emails and the transactions, you would realize that email is really where the money is. That's where the connections are. And if you don't do it correctly, then at some point you may not really see the benefit. You may say, I have 100 people on my list, but those are 100 people. Why do you ignore 100 people and you're looking for 1,000 people? You won't ignore the person that's knocking on your door, but rather than having 100 people knocking on your door. So, like, if you answer and think about this question, you have people on your network. Let these be your loyal fans. Because imagine if you have all these people into 100%, they're all buying from you. Who else do you need other than these people to stay connected with you? Yes, you want to expand, but the mission is to drive impact. So if you're not driving impact and you're just sending an email because you have a coupon, it's not going to drive impact at all. At all. I'm so excited about this project I'm doing right now with clients. We're running Pinterest ads right now, especially based on zip code marketing. And I'm seeing Shopify carts adding to carts, complete purchases. I'm just like, okay, now we're actually in there, because it's not just a matter of sending emails or running ads. This is $5 a day I'm talking about. This is $1 a day I'm talking about. We don't have to spend too much. And if I'm spending $5 and 3 people are adding to cart, and I've only reached about 200 people, what does that say about my future conversion rate if this happened within the first 24 hours? So when you think about your emails, how you sign up, where you sign up, who you connect with, these all play a big role into your connections. And the more you're able to send out emails, the more you're able to connect with people. One very good way that you can do this, which I am doing right now, and it is working and it is amazing, and I believe you should do it, because I've done this before but not to this capacity, and I feel like this is definitely the way you should use. This is like the perfect case study for YouTube. Perfect case study for YouTube. So I have, and there's another comment that just came in 2 hours ago. And this video is private. It's not really private, it's unlisted. Let me say it's unlisted. And there's 6 likes, 55 views, and I posted this 2 days ago. And it's not out there yet. It's a 25-minute clip. And this was when I talked about Pinterest, at Creative Con. Shout out to Julie and the team. And I have a whole presentation that literally I didn't publish, right? This is email marketing 101 and 201. I'm giving you guys a real story right now. Real story. In fact, I'm going to put the link in the chat because it's unlisted. So if you want to watch the video, you can leave your comment. Please put it there. Thank God for Apple. You just copy and paste it. Boom. All right, it's in the chat. So this was on a Sunday morning, and I was talking about Pinterest. No slides, no presentation, just picked up the microphone and said, okay, 25 minutes, let's go. And I started off by asking everyone in the room how many people use Pinterest and what they use it for. That was the first thing. I didn't just say, hey, my name is Favor and this is what I do. Da, 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 da. I started off by saying, by a show of hands, you watch the video, by a show of hands, how many of you? So that already pulled the crowd closer. I'm not going to just pick up the microphone and start making noise when you don't even know me. So you start by asking questions. When you send an email, it's a welcome sequence. Hey, welcome to our website. Welcome to our community. That welcome makes you feel welcome. Have you ever not felt welcome if someone says welcome? It's kind of impossible unless the atmosphere is different. But if you are feeling like you're at home and you're feeling like this email is resonating with you, like, oh my goodness, this is what I've been looking for. Wow, I didn't know y'all have been here the whole time. Now I want to get more emails. Now I want to know where you guys hang out. It starts becoming a community thing. Emails are big. So I sent out an email to our community. Right now, we've grown to about 7,600 subscribers. So we have 76. Actually, right now, it's actually perfect. Right now, our subscriber count is 7777. So it's a quadruple seven right now. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying that, okay, what's happening? And I actually said, okay, we think about email marketing, right? We just say, oh, yeah, we're sending out emails. But it's not the number of emails you send, it's the depth of emails you send. Because this month alone, I've sent, let me just give you the numbers: one, two, three, four, five, six. Sent out six emails within a 27-day count. Six emails. And out of 7,600 people that are subscribed, 60% of them have been active in the last 30 days. I'm doing the math right now. Let me see. That's, yeah, about 4657. Welcome, Austin, Eileen, Shay. Think about that number, right? It's a big number. So if it's about close to 60%, 50, 60%, of the audience that has been at least opened the email. I'm not talking about like seen it, opened it, like at least seen something. That's a big deal. That means if 60% are tuned in every 30 days and I have close to 5,000 people, let's say round up, that are listening every 30 days and I'm only sending six emails. Imagine if I'm sending 10, 15, 20 emails. I'm not going to do that. I can, we can do that and say, hey, let's run it. But we'd rather post externally, post more podcast episodes, post more blogs, post more content on YouTube, post more everywhere else. Then when you come to the email, you give them the blueprint. You say, hey, this is what you missed out. In case you didn't see this, here's what we've been up to this week. It's a newsletter, it's a marketing email, it's a transactional email. Everybody starts to write an email with the person's name at the beginning. Try change it for a little bit. Here's a pro tip. Try put the person's name, your addressing, their first name, put it in the middle of your email copy instead of the first. You can also try put it at the last, because when they see their name next to the question, it now prompts them to now answer you, because you're not just writing to an inbox. So you're creating a connection because you're building retention. If they're staying, it means there's something you're saying in each of those emails. And that doesn't mean that they've opened it once. They could have opened it twice. You can definitely see people who have opened it 10 times, 50 times, 30 times. You're wondering, wow, these people are opening it. So the more someone opens that email, it shows the urgency, it shows the triggers, it shows the timeliness, it shows how balanced your business is. It shows the intention. It shows where they're coming from. Welcome, Akisha. It shows these things because now it tells you in a 7-day timeline, there are businesses that have payroll. You don't know when their payrolls are. You don't know when they make payments. Some businesses I've noticed, like when you start getting like over 3,000 a month, it's not even just invoices. You're sending like account numbers, routing numbers, because you're wiring transfers, and you're dealing with corporate, you're dealing with businesses. So it's not a like click here moment. It's deeper than that. So when you start seeing that you're building connections, and then you realize this is what starts to happen. When you realize that the emails you're sending are contributing to your success, and you can see it. Why? Because you're getting more LinkedIn connections, because you're getting more connection requests, because you're getting more email requests for proposals, you're getting more signups, Like yesterday, and I'm not even kidding. Yesterday, let me check the email. I want to tell you guys about this. Yesterday, I was literally just checking my email, and from nowhere, this I'm trying to find the name of this company. And I saw, yeah, there it is. Boom. Yeah, put a star on it. Yeah, yesterday at 8:30 a.m. Central. I got this email and it was like, and it's called Pod SEO. I've never heard of these people before. PodSEO.com. Never heard of them before. I'm telling you guys this for the first time. PodSEO.com. These guys reached out yesterday and I was like, who is this? So they're like, hey, when listeners search for customer magnet on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, my show, We Don't Play the SEO Marketing Podcast show, shows up as the eighth result. And I was like, huh? Then they said I also show up for SEO marketing as the eighth result. And then they also said branding techniques on the ninth result. And I was like, wait, are you guys for real? So, and I didn't even realize that because I'm not looking for customer magnet. That is it's happening, but I'm not keyword, those are not my keywords. So I said, okay, let me actually go on Apple and search this, and I actually counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It was right there. I was like, huh. So they've sent me a booking link so I can book a call with them. I haven't booked a call yet because I got this yesterday and I'm just like trying to like soak it in to be like, wait, what just happened here? And they have AI powered, content machinery that's also pulling out this information because you can track your podcast search on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon. That's what they do. So I'm just posting podcast episodes, sending out emails, and now I'm getting an email that I didn't even ask for. And this person, her name is Andrea. Yeah, and she's the founder of the company. Yeah, I see the signature. So, what do you want? How do I even explain this? I didn't run ads for this. I'm not looking for who's out there looking for this, for that. No, we have it out there saying, hey, this is what we do. And if you're looking for us, you'll find connections, you'll find people we've connected with, you find our community. And it's very easy for you to see that because we want to be transparent. That way, you're able to see that your business can also be out there like it is with us. So it makes sense because you don't really have to spend money to make money. Yes, you have to do those things because that's where you think about capital, you think about economy, you think about structure, profit, operations. You know the business. What I'm here for is just to show you that when you send an email, that email could prompt things like this. And when it prompts things like this, it adds value to your system. And that way you start realizing, oh, there's more that meets the eye. So you start being more intentional. Because now, if I'm thinking about that, that tells me people are listening to the episodes to also learn how they can also get more customers because they're applying SEO marketing tactics, they're applying branding techniques from episodes that we've had features on and all these things. So it's really happening and people don't really see the money in podcasting. And John, I would love to hear your thoughts on this when it comes to keywords and structure, when it comes to podcasting, because people just wing it thinking they can just turn on the microphone and turn it off.
Yeah, the first thing is the podcast, and this is where a lot of people get. Of course, I do a lot of the traditional advertising and sponsorship. I'm migrating away from that and developing more revenue streams, using the podcast as a delivery platform for my advertisement. And social media is a revenue stream. Your website's another revenue stream. Newsbreak, Medium, other ones you can be, Patreon accounts, whatever it might be. But use the podcast as a tool to drive traffic and make people aware of your things that create revenue for you. What the trick is, or a lot of people don't do, is they don't focus on SEO and the importance of SEO, search engine optimization, when it comes to keywords about their episode of their show. Every episode you put up is an HTML page, plain and simple. It's a web page, and Google and all the search engines, they index it based off keywords. Starting with your title, the first four words in your title are the most important. then repeating that title, the first line in the first paragraph that you do, and developing some keyword density. Secondly, it's not just search engines which do that. By the way, search engines, on average, about 60% of Americans won't listen to your podcast, even if they search it. So you want to have other content for them that they can consume. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't get with podcasts. Apple Podcasts and Spotify are big search engines. And they use the same principles as Google and other SEO. And if people are not finding your episodes based off topics, based off keywords they're searching for, about 58% of all new shows are discovered that way, and 100% of those people are podcast listeners. You're missing out a huge opportunity. So that's all I got to say about that, Favor. Hope it helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much for that. And welcome, Nikki. I see you there as well. Good morning, Brian, Debbie, Caesar, if I said it correctly, Adam, Stephanie. Thanks for joining today. I'm super excited about this topic because, email marketing is kind of like the elephant in the room. Like I've heard stories where somebody says, "Hey, I have this email list and I don't talk to them." And and we run our business and we're fine. But in my mind, I'm like, why? Why would you leave people who subscribe to your content or at least found you somewhere online that they found the interest to leave their contact information or you found theirs and it makes sense. It's like either I meet you and say hi or you meet me and say hi. But one of us has to say hi for the other person to say hi back. So email marketing is a two-way street. And sometimes we treat it as a one-way path. And that's why we don't get responses because we treat it like it's just white noise, you know. So there has to be a balance between how you're responding and who you're responding to, how you're segmenting, when to send out the emails, when to understand, when to pause, when to do more, when to do less. Those are some things to look out for. So speaking of email marketing, Brian, welcome to the room. Good morning. We'd love to hear
Good
your
morning.
thoughts.
Good morning.
What are your thoughts today on email marketing?
I'm actually email marketing all morning this morning, and I'm validating emails from a very old list, and it had like 3,500 emails. Actually, no, I'm sorry, 35,000 emails on it. And after validating it, cleaning it up, it was whittled down to 25 25,250. So if I sent that email out, there would have been a lot of bounces and a lot of returns. So it's so important to clean it up. I'm actually email marketing all day, so this is a good topic.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Let me ask you this about bouncing. When you think about the soft bounce and the hard bounce, how do you treat it? Do you delete it? Do you archive it? Do you keep it? Do you wait?
Delete it. Delete it. Yeah. So what I realize is that when you have a lot of subscribers on your list, there's some good email hosting providers that really determine the bounce, the activity, the engagement. And it's really important to keep your list alive, to keep your list valid, is to take out all of those emails that bounce, just delete them. Even delete the people who don't open your emails or don't engage. Because I know there's so many subscribers that don't engage. Take them off your list. I know this morning looking at a client's email list, there were, one subscriber, actually a good portion of the subscribers, we're sending out 50 emails and not one open. So get them off your list. Get those bounces off your list. Get those inactive people off of your list just to keep it clean and the deliverability of it smooth.
One thing I love to do, Brian, I'd love to know if you also do this too, is if that happens, like I have a segment also on the list that says 90 days or more inactive, 180 days or more inactive, 365 days or more inactive. And I'm able to know which segments are inactive. And then you're able to buckle them up together or group them and, maybe resegment them. And one thing I notice is if you delete them or unsubscribe them because they're not even getting it in the first place, Then you re-upload the CSV file back into the system, and then send them a push email or put them in a workflow. Then that could be a way to really trigger and see if it's really bouncing. If it is, and of course delete it. But now that kind of gives you a way to research it, because you're dealing with IP addresses, hosting servers, sender reputation. Most people don't even think about putting postmaster tools, into their DNS records just to make sure they're compliant. So when you change those things and add them on, I'm sure there could be a difference. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. Extra work, segmenting that specific audience who's not engaging, a lot of extra work and giving them, the time. I mean, in my opinion, my time is money. And if you're not going to engage with my newsletter, I know this sounds harsh, but, if you're on my list and, if I'm getting charged for you to sit there on my email hosting provider and you're not doing anything, then I don't have time for you. I mean, I know that sounds mean, but I don't have time. You sound like you're more diplomatic. You care about them. You want to segment them and maybe touch base with them again, circle around again. It's a good idea. A lot of work. I would have somebody else do it, but I mean, both options are good. Going after them and chasing them down. But for me, get off my list. If you're going to sit there and not engage, I'm not going to engage. That's just how it works with me.
I love that. I love that. It makes a lot of sense, because you also don't want to waste space, waste time, and waste energy, and also waste resources, because one of your resources as an asset, for a business is your data. So if you're getting skewed data because of these bounces and it's not giving you the right graphs, the right accurate curves, the right mission statements that you can actually milestone, then it's not going to be easy for you to look back at a 3-month report or a 90-day report, and see the trajectory between those 2 points. And yeah, when you have to send out emails, you have to think about your space. And this is a big topic, a big deal, because imagine if you didn't have to worry about that brand. Would you still keep them, or would you keep deleting them, or just find a way to go around them if money wasn't a problem?
Yeah, so this is what I've done in the past. So I have segmented lists, I have segmented emails that were not responding. And what I did was I created audiences in Facebook, TikTok, X. I created these audiences. LinkedIn actually lets you create audiences from email addresses. I don't know if they still do it. But in the past, I used to take those segmented audiences and I used to remarket to them. And that is a cheaper way to do it, because if they see your ad, if there's impressions on your ad on any of these social platforms, you just get, you have to pay when they see your ad again, and for sure that they see your ad. So I would just, that segmented audience that doesn't engage, I remarket to them in some way, but they're off my list, because these email hosting providers, if you have 10,000 people on your list or 20,000 people on your list, you're getting charged for that. So, you want to take those off, put them somewhere else, keep the list if you want. Those people who don't engage, keep that list. Do something else with it. I usually remarket back to them, or I send another, blast on another platform, another email blast on another platform. But, you sound like you want to keep them, but it's not me.
You know what's crazy? If you think about it, let me just say this. Like for me, I keep them. Like I'm not even talking about email address. I think that's just been me and my nature. Just like back in the day with telephones and how things were. Like I have on my phone. I don't know how many contacts people have on their phone, but my phone. If I want to give you the exact numbers, I feel like this is just something that maybe it would just help, because we're talking about emails, contacts, connections, right? I have 9,422 contacts on my phone. You're welcome, Heron, forever. And I hope that helps as well when you try it out. If you have any question, let me know. So that's just contacts. And for me, I keep my contacts. Not that I'm gonna engage with everybody, but one day someone's gonna be like, hey, and it's happened 5 years later. I'm like, what? Where have you been? And it happens. And there's some friends I've met that if it wasn't for me keeping connections, 10 years down the road, we would not be friends today or even know where we are in life, because that connection would have been made. Thank God for Facebook and phone books. all those great things. And for me, I think about email marketing as part of that tradition. So I'm not even looking at this with a marketing hat on. I'm looking at this from a person to person communication. And yeah, if I delete it, yeah, they could be off my list, but they could be maybe in a spreadsheet somewhere. I'm not going to put them in the trash can or in the trash bin and then delete forever. That's something people could do, right? But I look at it from, okay, this person is not engaging, but one day they will. And if they're listening to podcasts and they probably refer it to someone, it helps. Like, the way I see things is completely different, and I love that we're having this topic because there's a way people do email marketing. And for me, I know the number one thing that gives people a problem with email marketing, and it's debatable, is pricing. And if it's going to cost me a lot, then I don't want to use a platform. Even though it's the best platform, I don't need it, because at that time it's not a necessity. At that point, it's a want, because you can't be able to get that. So there's a difference between building that relationship and knowing exactly who you're trying to connect with at the expense of what you're paying for, and you're able to do that within a cycle of connecting with people over time, and you don't have to worry about those costs. So that's what I've been able to do, like saving people over $300 a month paying on a platform when they spend that less in a year with Flowdesk, and they have close to 10,000 subscribers. So it's building those relationships, it's building those connections that really take, the next step. And that's how you're able to do it as well. John, what do you mean? What do you think about that? And Brian, yeah, you like to say something before we go to John?
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, segmenting those lists because people are busy, right? They don't open up their emails. Some of them have like a different email address specifically for spam, and every once in a while, maybe twice a month, they go and visit it. Yeah, I mean, those customers are a slow trickle, but sometimes, I'm going to defend my stance on if they're not engaging, they're not paying, right? So it's nice to segment that list, but list hygiene is so important to keep that deliverability improved, to improve your deliverability. That list hygiene is so important. And keeping your list clean makes deliverability higher for everyone else who engages and pays you. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you on segmenting that list, going a little slower with them. If they don't engage with you, then there might be a chance, but I take them off my paid hosting and uh, you know, engage with the people who are engaged. That's what business is all about, right? But I love your stance too. I mean, it's cool, but we're talking money here, so
The money's in the list. It's just that the right person is the person you need to connect with. So it may be the wrong list. It might be the wrong email. It might be the wrong contact, but it could be the right referral. You never know. John, what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Brian here. So it's a matter of time management and money. And I'm a big proponent of pruning your list and getting rid of people. The bounces, they'll kill you. They'll kill your regular delivery. So you want to get rid of them. I use constant context is going to tell me what type of soft bounce there is. If it's a soft bounce, I usually just if it's anything other than vacation, it's suspended or something like that, or then I remove them because they're charging me for that. Secondly, I don't have the time to nurture a possible relationship with someone who sometime in the future might become a consumer of my content. So really, it's about time and money for me. So yeah, I prune it and I keep as clean as possible. And I'm constructing an email right now on suggestions from your room on promoting to my social media platforms. So that one's going to consumers, and then I've got another one I got to do today for radio station decision makers.
I love that. Yes, exactly. That's it. That's true, because even when you think about like corporate and how emails are sent and communication systems, platforms that are used, they're very different as well when you look at the marketing stack, that they use just to create that attention, that awareness, build that retention, get people connected and know why they're using those platforms too. So you know that when you're sending out an email, you know that that email will translate to someone responding back, And that could be in form of a LinkedIn request. It could be in form of an email response. It could be in form of a download. It could be in form of a referral. And then that also plays into your domain authority, because I also think about this SEO wise, right? The more people you have on your subscription list, the more chances of you getting more bounces, more spam rates, more, right? But you also have to think about the other side of the fence when there's a lot of more interaction, more engagement, more traffic. You send one email to, like you said, 35,000 people. When they get that email to that YouTube video and there's a zero point 0.1, let's say, percent that really tune in, there's a volume there that you can also look at and measure because of the watch hours that you're also contributing to, the connection. It's not just within that one place. And when you look at where people watch videos the most on the web, it's on YouTube. Not everybody goes to Vimeo. Yesterday, I was talking about Vimeo with a client of the Vimeo. The lady, she just gasped. I was like, "Oh my goodness, it's been a long time," because she hasn't heard the word Vimeo in a long time. And then she chuckled. I was like, "Yeah, it's been a long time." So I was like, "Hey, do you guys want to do this on YouTube or Vimeo?" So that's when everything just lit up last night. So you think about when you're connecting with people and you're asking, what platforms do you want to use? I'm not going to say, hey, use this because this is a platform to use. I'll ask you, and then I want to know why you want to use that platform. And then I'll ask, do you know alternatives to solve those problems? If you don't, here are some suggestions and here are some costs. So that way you're able to now count the costs and now know, okay, I have an executive decision to make. Is this going to help or hurt the business? If it's going to help, I know in 3 months I can make this back, then I won't have to worry about this or that. Right now, we just finished solving a problem. I think I talked about it early this week with a client, and I'm actually meeting him in 20 minutes. And he has a great list of over 50,000 people on Flowdesk. We moved him from Aweber to Flowdesk. And for the last week, we've been literally going back and forth. He's been going back and forth on emails. He's just been forwarding them to me because I was like, this is crazy. Welcome, Debbie. This is crazy. And also, Kurt, welcome to the room. I see you too. And Stephanie, you think about these people that are like sending out emails, you think it would just be a breeze, right? We've already authenticated the email, we've done all the DNS record matching, we've done everything right, like check, but there's still a problem. So it's like, oh, people will say, yeah, we just connected this and that's it. No, that's not it, because these 50,000 new people that you're sending an email to on this, like Brian said, on this new hosting server are new people. So you got to warm up the email. You can't just blast one email to 50,000 people after you upload. That's crazy. When they spam reports, do all those things, it just puts you back in the black hole, and you don't want to be there because it's not a good place to be at all. So we had to solve this problem because we've already set up a sequence. He's not blasting emails, he's sending sequence emails. He already knows that, okay, people who have done the quiz, these are the people. The problem was that he moved from Aweber to Flowdesk. And they were saying that the problem was that because of the new emails that are on the new platform, because you're dealing with new IP addresses, you're dealing with new hosting servers, you're dealing with new DNS records, you're dealing with new authority links, it's a little bit technical. You have to really think about the warm up, right? So when you send out one email, two emails, three emails, four, the more emails you send, the more people are able to receive them back. So if you spam them sending one email a day to 5,000 people per day, that's crazy. Because someday someone's going to say, hey, stop doing what you're doing. I feel like this is spam. They're going to block on, like, it's just going to get crazy. You don't want that. And the last thing you want is to have to hear that on your profile. So, and it happens to some people. Some people don't recover from those things, right? Because it's like, it's just not ethical. So, even if you're uploading or getting contacts or signing in, like I said before, it's like meeting a new person for the first time. It's either I will say hi to you or you'll say hi to me. However, that conversation goes is based on how we flow. So, it's not a problem if you came first or if I came first. The problem is who's going to last long and how long is this relationship going to be? because you can be on my email list for 5 years and not say a word, but the day you speak up is the day you really thank God you kept saying the same things over and over, because now you've taught somebody else, and now you're opening up a school somewhere, or you're doing some nonprofit partnership, or whatever happens. Things happen like that. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, warming up email is so important. I want to stress that it's so important. So think of like warming up your IP is basically the technical term for it. Warming up your IP is so important. Think of it like you're in a boat and or you're in a little dinghy in the middle of the ocean or a lake, and it's in the middle of the winter and the lake water is so cold, so you take your boot off or your shoe and you dip your toe in the water really, really slowly. You don't jump in, right? Because if you jump in, your body's going to go into shock because the water is so cold. So instead of jumping in, you put your foot in, and then, your little toe, and then you put, your other toe, and then you slowly dip your foot in and you warm up your body to that cold water, right? So think of this as a metaphor to warming up your IP address. So I just bought a domain name. I just bought an IP address because I deliver over 300,000 emails like a month, actually a week. So I had to get my own dedicated IP address, and this is what they told me. So on day one, don't blast, 5,000 emails all at once. Don't like just deliver this to your list all at once. Day one, keep it under 1,000. Day two, 2,500. Day three, 5,000, and so on. Warm up your list. Don't blast out that email right away, because that's going to really, really ruin your not only your credibility but your deliverability. And you want to focus on those most engaged users. So, segmenting again is so important. The non-engaged users with the engaged users, because it all works in tandem. Warming up that IP address with engaged users first and not blasting them all at once is so important to keep you credible and to stay out of that black hole. I've been there before in that black hole, and it's not fun. Being in the black hole means no money, and it's not a good place to be.
That is true. That is true. And sometimes we end up doing it to ourselves without realizing it, because we did the wrong thing, or we set it up the wrong way, or we use the wrong platform on the wrong software. It's just could be a whole bunch of a lot of things. But if you able to know, okay, I'm using this platform for this reason, then you're able to now warm up, like you said that. So thank you so much for that, Aaron, Brian. It's super important to look at emails and think about how you're connecting with people. And when they're also opening up those emails, it tells you a little bit more. Because sometimes I think the most underrated feature for emails is this is what I think. I think it's the open rates. It's the most underrated feature, because somebody opens your email, they took time to click open. Like they didn't need to. There's something called email blindness, meaning that I saw your email, I didn't click it, I went, took it straight into the trash, and that's why it's in the spam. Now, if somebody opens your email once, twice, three times, four times, 10 times, and you see, oh, this person opened 30 times in the 30 days, and you've not said anything, or you didn't segment or put them in a workflow that says, okay, if this person clicks 5 times, or if this person clicks this, then they get that, and they don't get that, that means they won't be interested in this because you didn't prioritize this over that. There's a lot of this and that going on. And sometimes it's like a tic-tac-toe moment, but it's for you to decide, how do you open up those emails and keep those emails open? And not just open, but engaged, connected. That turns into calls, in-person connections, requests, and actual conversations that can actually start from a topic. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that, John or Brian. Anyone can go. We'd love to hear from both of you too.
Yeah, I think uh, for me, the open rate is extremely important. I'm going to go to, I just sent off the one to consumers. So I got my constant contact open. Let me see what it says. And this is just general generic information. When you open it, it's going to show you total contacts, email open rate, all the emails it sent, radio decision makers, consumers. advertisers, you name it. It's a 78% open rate. And then it goes into each one. I can go to open clicks. However, the number one most important thing, and this goes to what Brian said, for me, it's deliverability. Uh, if you get email address, always if you get a list of emails, let's say like Brian's got an old list he wants to revitalize, always permission pass them. Even if you're changing platforms, send them, hey, we're a new platform, blah, 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 it's coming from different IP. And the people who don't want to be on your list, don't want to get your emails, get rid of them because it's going to hurt you. They're going to make spam complaints. They're not going to open it. It's going to cost you more money. So you want to get the highest open rate possible. And the best way to do this is by getting the maximum deliverabilities, working email addresses. Then the last thing for me is click rate. I'd always love to get click rate up, but for me, it's far more important that more people know about what I do than take immediate action on it. I guess it's a branding aspect of it. So for me, email deliverability is of the most utmost concern.
Yeah. So for me, open rate is an engagement signal. These email hosting providers use that open rate to figure out if you're a spammer or if you're a serious business owner. I mean, a high open rate is, you have healthy engagement, you have people interacting with you, they opted in possibly. And if you have a really low open rate, that's an engagement signal for your email service provider, that you're a possible spammer. Not a good place to be. And that open rate also kind of determines your sender reputation, which again goes back to that spamming or that healthy, engaging email list. So that reputation, that sender reputation is so important. And if your open rate is really, really low, if your open rate is not good, then some of these email service providers throttle you back. They block you until you're trusted. I've been in that situation before where how come my email is like the deliverability on this is bad because I didn't manage my list. My list didn't have good hygiene. I was, the engagement signal was I was a possible spammer and they throttled me back. And in some instances, some email service providers, they blocked me entirely. So open rate is so important. And you're right, you know, you're right, Favor. It does. It's overlooked. And there are ways to get better open rates, and maybe we should start talking about that. But it's good to keep that engagement signal, which is an open rate, really. It's good to stay in a good area on that.
You're so right on that. Thank you, John. Thank you, Brian. Those are valid. The deliverability is also very important too, because if you can't get it delivered, you can't get it opened. That's like you can't get your package opened if you don't have it delivered to your door, your mailbox. Like that's the first step of action. And then it's now open and then received and then conceived and then perceived, and then there's a lot of things happening in motion, but we just think it's an email, click here, buy now, sign up, and it doesn't really strike that, so if we think about emails and give people things that say, okay, we talk about content upgrades, like email could be a content upgrade where you give them an exclusive experience as a case study in text, and then you send them an article, but now because they got the link to the
Do we lose
when
Favor's audio, or is it just me?
No,
what
we lost him. Yeah, he's coming back there.
wait, can you hear me?
Now we do.
Yeah, now we do. We lost you there for a second. I was checking my connections. I thought it was me.
Wow, nothing happened. That was weird. Okay, we're back. Now we're back. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of control in those two fields when you look at deliverability and you also look at open rates. Welcome, Vanessa. So you're building and building and building to the point where when you build, you're like, okay, this is actually happening. There's a company, a credible company called Validity, and they reached out to me. I'm still talking with them, but for some reason, sometimes I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know if it's LinkedIn or Google or AI, but they just reach out, and I'm talking to one of them. because speaking of sender reputation, I was checking my sender score because you can go to senderscore.org. So this is me checking my sender score. I have a sender score of 99, and you have to be above 90 to really have a really good reputation, right? Talk about IPs, talk about, you know, deliverability, ethics, just being in a very good place and also focusing on growth. Now, you look at the same thing as a business and you're asking yourself, okay, how do I keep maintaining those numbers? Now, they send a message and say, hey, we wanted to know if you're interested in validity because we see you're checking your sender score. And I'm like, huh? I didn't ask you guys about this, but now they're interested in what I'm talking about. So now I'm communicating with them and they were like, okay, what's your email volume? And I was like, why are you guys being so nosy? Because in my head I was like, there's somewhere they're going with this. But I was like catching with them and now we're gonna get on a call. Exactly. And I'm like, okay, so I sent them a screenshot. And I was like, here you go. Then they kept asking questions. I was like, okay, you know what? If you really have another question, like I felt like we were going back and forth. After the third question, I said, hey, if you have another question for me, book this call. If you don't have another question for me, don't respond to this email. I didn't say exactly that, but I put it in a way that made sure that if we want to have a conversation, yes, we can talk about all these things on email, but a 15-minute conversation will solve all these back and forth 3-day, 4-day emails that we're sending because I also want to understand their agenda. They've not even said what they're just asking questions. So I'm like, how is this person getting all these high scores? This and I don't know what they're thinking, but all I'm thinking is, hey, if you want to get there, at least people know and it's
Uh-oh, we lost him again. Or is that just me?
Not just you. We lost him.
Oh, there he is.
Favor, you're muted
He's
now.
walking around the house probably.
it's not even that. Can you hear
Now we
me?
hear you.
Can now.
I've not moved an inch. That is
Are you
weird.
using Wi-Fi on your Clubhouse or your cell phone?
Yes.
Try
Why?
switching to cell. See what happens.
Uh-oh. All right, let's see.
Whack, whack.
All right, I switched it. Are you guys hearing me okay? Was there a difference? Oh, okay. So we have a celebration hat. Okay.
You're good. You're loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. So I don't know, Wi-Fi should be doing better than anyway. Well, sorry guys. I love a good experience. So thank you for stopping me because I thought it didn't give me a red bar. So maybe Clubhouse needs, I don't know what happened, but we're back. So I was mentioning that, they're trying to connect, and I said, yeah, let's connect. So I'm waiting to see what happens today because I've been up really early today and since 4 a.m. and I've sent out the email. So we'll see what happens today and see if they send another question or they actually get on a call. And I'll let you guys know that by next week. But why I'm bringing this up is so that you also know about email marketing because these are conversations that happen with other businesses. This is a B2B conversation I'm having. This is a company, they're trying to understand some things, they're probably trying to do some research. And I said, hey, I have an email total volume of 1.4 million with an unsubscribe rate of 0.1%. And our deliverability rate is 98.5%. So it's like, okay, what's happening because the numbers have to math up because if you're sending out emails in volume and those emails are not being spammed because some people have an unsubscribe rate of 1%, 2%, it's very possible, especially when you're sending emails in volume. So the trust, the branding, the SEO, the domain authority, the credibility, and I believe a majority of this is the podcast because right now the podcast just grew. We just added one more country to our podcast. So we have 124 countries listening to the podcast show. So it's growing. I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm like, okay, another country's in. There's one country specifically that I'm really looking forward to adding to this number, and I think that's going to really make my podcast journey. And it's Luxembourg. I haven't connected with them, and there's a reason why, and I'm planning to do something. I don't know. Is that it's just been happening? Singapore is one of them. They're third on the list. When it comes to 124 countries, United States is the top for me, 74.8%. United Kingdom is 3.9%. Singapore is 3.1%. Canada is 2.6%. India is 1.8%. So when I think about India, 1.8% of the total country population, that's a number. Now, the last people that just stepped in is Antigua and Barbuda. So these are countries that I've never even been to myself. Some of them, some I have. And you're looking at all these countries, and I said, I've traveled to more countries than I've visited because I'm reaching out to more people organically. There's no SEO that can, I mean, there's no paid advertising I can do that can reach out to that many people in those many places. And it's not being run by ads. I'm not driving people to the podcast, say, hey, listen to podcasts in all these countries. It's happening organically. So I believe when you start sending out emails, when you start sending out social campaigns, when you start connecting people, not for promotional purposes. And for me, it's educational. And that's why it comes naturally because I'm not here to sell. I'm here to teach. I'm here to show. I'm here to tell you a few things that possibly you probably never heard before. But if you're interested in learning how it can be done for you, then that's where we have the conversation to now get it done for you. And that's how the business is operated so that you now get into the team and we now handle your project and manage your project so that we can manage it from start to completion. So it's just about who's ready and how they're ready and when they're ready. So it's a process, but it's a great process as well. We got 2 minutes to go. Brian, we'd love to hear your thoughts, final takeaways from Email Marketing 101 and 201, and then we'll go to you, John.
Hygiene, hygiene, email hygiene. Keep it clean so the engagement is higher. That's what I get out of this.
Love that. John?
Yeah, I'm with Brian. Your email hygiene is going to pay off for you in spades. It's going to cut your overhead cost. It will increase deliverability because you want people to find out what you do, no matter what you do. If you're an author, podcaster, book sales coach, whatever it is, you want people to consume the content. Secondly, that hygiene of getting rid of people who will not open your stuff. Stop paying for that. Cut your cost. It won't take a lot of time. You can do most of the hygiene once a week. But lastly, I'll say is put into play on your website some central location you have where you can start developing an email newsletter list and don't fall asleep on places like LinkedIn and their email newsletter, Substack, the ones that are free. You can do them in conjunction with what you do paid. That will pay off for you big time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Yes, my takeaway is do what Brian and John just said. That if you replay it all the way to this end and you want to replay back, you know how people watch a movie and then they want to start it from the beginning. If you hear this word again, hygiene, it's a very ethical thing and it's a very great thing that you can really acquire personally, professionally, and really have a great response. Like the way you clean up your closet, the way you clean up your list, the way you clean up the garbage, it's a good cleaning habit. And I think the order of the day is clean, clean, clean. The cleaner your email list is, the cleaner your message, and the cleaner the conversion, and the faster the retention. If you want to connect with us, please feel free to just hit our profiles. If you want to get on a call with me, please click the link above and stay connected so that you can reconnect with your audience, turn the lights on, save money, which is very important in 2025, and do things the right way so that you're not just putting out content everywhere, but you're reaching out to people who actually want to connect back with you. So appreciate you all. Have a happy Thursday. God bless you all. Thank you, John, Brian, Austin, Akeisha, Debbie, Vanessa, Riches, and Stephanie. Appreciate you all. Have a blessed day, and I'm going to see y'all in the clubhouse streets.